Joining us now, and he's in his second season, fresh off a year where he led Louisiana Tech to the Conference USA regular season championship. He was named the CUSA Coach of the Year and did one of the most remarkable jobs throughout the country, ladies and gentlemen. And awesome to have him on for the first time on our show. Coach Taylor, Josh Taylor, joining us here on In the Circle. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, I want to talk about last year, and I know you're focused on this year. We'll get to this year's team, but I can't be remiss if we didn't bring up last year and that remarkable season that you had in your first season with the program winning the regular season title. If you've had time to reflect on last season, what comes to your mind?
My coaching hires, first thing comes to my mind. I mean, I hired great assistant coaches and they did a remarkable job in their individual fields of expertise and I couldn't give them more credit. That's the top point at the administration here at Louisiana Tech. I think they get lost sometimes on all the accolades and those things, but Dr. Eric Wood, our athletic director, and Malcolm Butler, just the support here has been fantastic and allowed us to really, do our thing. And then, thirdly, obviously the players. I mean, the players did a great job last year and for the buy-in that we got and the confidence and the belief that they were able to garner over the course of the fall. And then as we got going through our spring, just grew and grew and grew and couldn't be more proud of the players and on how they bought into all the things we were teaching and how they played the game. They did a lot of little things right.
39 wins last season. You win the regular season title in dramatic fashion. I think anybody that's followed your program could still listen to that Malcolm Butler call on the walk-off to clinch the regular season title. You got in there in your first year. I mean, there's usually a kind of a transition period of time, but like, how were you able to be so successful that quickly? Take me through that process, because was at least a part of you surprised how quickly it kind of came together?
Yeah, we were surprised to, definitely how it happened and that end where we won the 11 straight conference games to finish off the regular season. There was some surprise there. It's just amazing. A lot of people talk about confidence and how important that is to this, sport in particular. And our girls just were able to find a groove to that and big hits, clutch moments, big pitches. We were able to start making all the routine plays and do all the little things right, as I mentioned before. So there was surprise just because we weren't sure how long it would take for them to get confident in what, one, we were teaching, and two, some belief in themselves. And this program had been through a lot in the previous few years following the tornado in 2019. And I think that for them to get a hold of their confidence that early was really impressive for us. It was really impressive to watch their growth, not just as softball players, but just as human beings in general. They were really able to grow a lot and mature a lot academically as well as athletically. And it really boded well for our future because now we have some built-in leadership now. And this year's been smoother on our upperclassmen being able to help the freshmen along, where pretty much everybody was a freshman last year in their learning curves for what we were bringing to the game. So, we were able to pick up the pace a little bit on some of the speed of the game things early, last year. And there was definitely, like I said, there was some surprise to it, but looking back on it, it was just a really great journey with these players, not just on the field, but off it as well.
What was the moment last season where you felt like, hey, they've bought in, this could be a special year, we could be ahead of schedule maybe? Was there a moment where it kind of like you figured, you're looking at this and talking to your staff and like, hey, we got a shot here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at our season last year, especially our conference slate, when we started out, we got swept on the road at Florida Atlantic. I don't think people remember that after what happened after that, but I think their response that following weekend when we came home against Florida International and swept them here, I think I started to see a little bit different dynamic. I mean, we came out. I mean, if you were to point at a moment, Friday night, that first game against Florida International, I mean, we made 5 errors in 2 innings, I believe, to start that game, and we're down. Our pitchers were able to hold us in the game and keep it at a 2-0 game, down 2-0 at that point. we were coming to win that game in extra innings 3-2. And I think at that moment, they started to realize we don't have to be perfect. We can just go out and play. I think they relaxed a little bit and we were able to, we took every series, I believe, after that. And I think that when you look at that moment on the response after Florida Atlantic and then going into Florida International, I think that was a big moment for us in conference play. If you're talking conference wise, I think when we went down to Lafayette and LSU and we won a couple games against Troy at LSU, and it was a very good team last year. And we started to get a little more confidence in that. And then what happened at Florida Atlantic, just the response. We talk about the mental game being more of a response generated skill set, is that they were able to really bounce back that next weekend. I think that showed a lot of what our team was made of. And then we were able to get a little bit on a roll there. We were able to figure out our Saturday, pitching situation when we went all last year with 3 pitchers. A lot of people may not realize that. And the job that Audrey Pickett did in the circle for us, and then Lauren Manzina and Emma Hutchinson as well. We were able to figure out that Saturday starter a little bit. So we weren't having to throw Audrey every single game. And I think that they started to garner a little belief, and then the defense started to play better behind those pitchers as well. And it kind of just started to grow from there. But if you were to ask me about a moment, which you did, I would say the response following the Florida Atlantic series after getting swept on the road in 3 tough games.
Yeah.
That we really responded well, and then we started to believe, and then everybody knows how it finished with the 11 straight.
So obviously you have the great year. I'm sure the players get patted in the back. You get pat, rightfully so. But now you got a new season. So what's the message you've told the returners as far as, hey, last year was last year, this is the new year, but at the same time you want to build on that momentum from last year. So how do you balance that out as a coach?
You humble them. I mean, I think, there's a lot of messages that are sent behind closed doors in regards to that. I think in the first team meeting this year, we talked about, you don't really ever defend something. We're not defending anything. It's a new year, and this year will bring its own challenges that are unique to this year. And we have to be able to train properly, and they're still learning how to actually practice properly to be able to take it in the game. And those are, every year you don't want to sit back and think about what happened last year. And so we're not trying to defend anything. A lot of people say you're defending a championship. That's not the way we go about it. It's a new year. Can we start from a different place than last year? Certainly, because there's a year of experience, but it has nothing to do with last year. Now, do we know how to win? Yes. Do certain players in this team know what it takes? Yes. So maybe the leadership level is definitely elevated for us with our returners from last year to this year. So that's a plus for us, but we're not trying to defend anything. And as anybody knows, in softball, every day is a new day. I mean, just because you're 0 for 4 on Friday doesn't mean you're 0 for 4 walking in the yard on Saturday. And we have tough opponents this year, and our schedule's ticked up a little bit. Purposefully, and we're trying to take another step, not defend anything. We're trying to take ourselves to some consistent play day in and day out, and play it. It already sounds so cliche, literally one day at a time right now. We're not looking at Friday or Saturday at Arkansas right now. We're looking at getting better today with what we're doing today. And if our girls can they really bought into that last year, which helped us sweep some series and get going, because as soon as you start thinking you're better than somebody else, you get in a lot of trouble in this sport. And the diversity of softball and throughout the country is so good that somebody's going to smack you in the face sooner or later. So, you look to play each pitch in each game, one thing at a time. And I know that's a cliche thing that everybody hears 5,000 times, but it's really true. And it's the hardest thing to do in our sport, which is, what we preach here as far as, mental toughness and those types of things. And so we're not defending anything. We're just trying to take it a day at a time right now, get better. And we have our eyes set right now, not on Saturday at Arkansas. We're trying to learn about ourselves there too. Our focus right now is in February, as far as what are we going to look like then.
Let's talk about some of the. This is a question you're going to get asked a lot between now and February, and that's in the circle. As media, I always feel awkward always saying like, "Hey, you have this great player you got to replace." You don't replace great players like an Audrey Pickett, for example, who won 25 games, led your team in the circle among the staff that you talked about with Messina and Hutchinson. How does your pitching staff look this season here as the outlook?
We're deeper. We have six of them now, and I think we're excited about our pitching staff. We're losing an Audrey Pickett is always tough, but I think that let's not forget Audrey the year before that only won 7 games and had a 4 ERA, and so we believe in I believe in my pitching coach for one. Chelsea Cohen does an amazing job with our pitchers and developing them and teaching them actually how to get people out. We returned Lauren Menzina, who took a lot of strides last year, as well as Emma Hutchinson, and then we brought in some quality freshmen as well. We believe in our pitchers, and how to get people out. We're still at the beginning stages of that, so there'll be a lot of learning moments this weekend for them, as well as there have been during practice already, as far as how to attack and get people out. I mean, a lot of pitching's an art, and it's not just how hard you throw or whatever it is that people might think. It's actually sequencing and how to actually set hitters up to get them out. And so the freshmen have a learning curve there that they're learning. The returners are definitely picking up right where they left off. We're excited about the depth and the different pieces that we've added to be able to match up better. Last year we had to ride people longer than we would have possibly liked, or not be able to match up. I know Audrey won 25 games last year, but we weren't able to match her up. And sometimes she was in a bad situation and she just had to figure it out. I think this year we'll be able to, piece our staff together a little bit better with different sequencing and different matchups that are better for that particular situation, which we weren't able to do a lot in the circle. So we're excited about our staff. We've added depth at all of our positions. And so, competition breeds success. And so some of these returners that were, starters last year are having to compete right now. And those are good things for our players. I think that, like you said, you don't replace, Maddie Green's 13 home runs. You can't replace what Audrey Pickett did last year. The leadership of Lindsay Edwards. You can't replace these kids. What you try to do is put the current roster in the best situation for them to contribute. We have a saying here is this, how can I help my team win? That's the only thing our players need to be asking themselves. We don't have bench players. We have role players. Those types of things, are all very important roles. And we have a lot of people are forgetting that we actually lost Brooke Melanchuk a week before the season started last year. She's off the radar for a lot of people. And Brooke was slated to be our number one going into last year after the fall. So she's coming back right now from injury, and we're excited about Brooke Melanchuk being able to contribute this year as well. So we have depth, which we definitely sorely needed to address during the offseason, and we've done that. And I think these pitchers as a staff now are starting to come together and figure out what their roles are on this staff, how we're going to sequence them to get people out through lineups. I do believe that there's second, third time through damage implications. And if we can match up better, which I think we will, our pitching staff's going to be all right. But I agree with you. I don't think you ever replace great players. It's like defending a championship. You don't defend championships. You get on with it, and you train how champions train. And that's what we're trying to focus on right now.
You mentioned some of the players you lose offensively, but what you do return is the reigning freshman of the year in St. Sierra Sacco, who hit 441, set the school record with 83 hits in a single season, hit 7 doubles, 3 triples. You also return Amanda Gonzalez, who's a first-team all-conference performer, and Kylie Neal is a first-team conference performer. Give us your thoughts overall on the offense and the returners then, and some of the new faces as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've addressed the depth problem where we have depth now where those girls are having to compete at their positions, and that's just going to bode well for them moving forward. Sacco is a special player. She's a special human being. As far as as just how she gets after it, she wants to win. All the things you would want in a softball player, you get in Sierra Sacco. she's added a few wrinkles to her game. She understands that now there's scouting reports out on her, and we've talked about all those things. And she learned a lot last year on how she got pitched and how people were pitching them late. She freaked out a little bit on some shifts that Rodney over there in North Texas was pulling on her during our series over there, and she's learned how to attack that now, and all these different things that go along with all the accolades that she got last year. We've been talking through all those scenarios, and she's a special player. And I think people forget how good of an outfielder she is too. I mean, she took away a lot of hits from a lot of people last year, and she's just gotten better out there on her reads and her jumps. And Gonzalez is returning for us at shortstop, who just got better and better and better as the season went, offensively and defensively. And we returned our whole middle with Isom and Gonzalez and Diaz behind the plate and Sacco in center. So we're strong up the middle, and that's, I think, the goal of most coaches, is to get strong up the middle. And then we've added some pieces in there as well that we're excited about. Kylie Neal is still she's still learning. That's the thing, is she didn't even play the first 5 games of last season, and then started to really come into her own as a power threat late. And she's been really impressive so far this fall. We're excited about her. It's just finding timing and rhythm right now, and trying to get them into that rhythm of seeing live pitching, understanding the strike zone, understanding how to hit in counts, all those. There's so much to do still this fall. It's so early for us right now still, but we're excited about the group of kids we've got. We're excited that we got them for another year, because now they're just going to learn more, and we've got some of them for multiple years. And we have Cooper back and left, who's a dynamic outfielder as well, who was a transfer for us last year at the break, and we're excited about her having her first fall with us, because she was kind of on a quick learning curve last year, going into the spring, and now we're getting to work with her a little bit more on how to be a little bit more dynamic in the zone and different things on actually hitting. I mean, I pride myself on not being a swing coach, but a hitting coach. And so we're trying to really try to get these girls to understand actually how to hit and how to attack and counts and do specific things. But she's doing a great job. All these girls are doing a great job. We're excited about our depth, to where I think we got better in certain spots. And I definitely think that we got definitely better in that 2 spot, in that depth area, that if, things happen, of course, throughout the course of a year, as far as injuries. And that was impressive about last year too. And when Brooke Melanchuk went down, how Audrey and that pitching staff really stepped up. And so those things happen every year. And so someone's going to be asked. They're training hard, and we couldn't be more excited about that returning offense. Right now, it's just about figuring out how it's going to sequence out into a lineup, and how we're going to put them in the best position to be successful.
Your offense, and I have to bring this up because I don't know if people realize this. You proved your offense went from a 233 hitting team before you were there to last year you hit 293, a 60-point jump. That's amazing. Talk about the philosophy on offense, and talk about your staff. You mentioned your assistants. You said earlier, like, hey, I hired a great assistant. But just talk about your whole staff and how you were able to help get the most out of these players in such a quick time.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, it's teaching them how to hit, not just how to swing. I mean, a lot of focus sometimes is on mechanics, a lot of focus, and there needs to be focus on some of those things, because there's certain traits in a good swing path, and how to get on plane, and just between lag and drag and all these types of things, balance, direction. There's so many things you can talk about mechanically, but in the reality of the scheme of things, when you're talking about hitting, you're talking about, I mean, mechanics are, if you don't have a mentally tough kid, then the mechanics are never going to become habit, because they're not going to work on the right things, or they think just hitting off the tee every day for an hour and a half or whatever it may be, that's them working. We're teaching them how to actually work and how to actually be focused, where sometimes that hour of work can be done in 15 minutes, and you can get more out of that 15 minutes than you can than that hour. So it was teaching them actually how to hit. I mean, what it takes, and how to get in plus counts, and then what to do with your swing when you're in plus counts, and then how to trust your swing. I mean, we're all about creating habit. I mean, habit is the single thing that can it can destroy you, or it can make you better. It can make you great, or it can make you worse, depending on what your habits are, whether that's practice habits or eating habits, or weight room habits, or anything like that. It all matters. And so we focus some on mechanics. There's no doubt about it. We have all the technology here at Tech with our great facilities that we can do a lot of different things. So a lot of video, a lot of breakdown of swings, all those types of things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's mentality, it's mental toughness, it's how to actually hit in counts, how to get in counts, how to battle with two strikes. All those types of things, I think, was the biggest difference last year. Everybody talks about confidence and how important that is. Well, I talk more about in terms of belief, and do you believe in yourself, and what kind of adjustments do you make? And we talk about feel a lot, and feel versus what's real, and how to fix those things. So our players are capable of making it not only game at bat by bat adjustments, but pitch by pitch sometimes adjustments. Sometimes it's a good thing when you foul off a ball, and understanding that just because you miss doesn't mean another pitch isn't coming. So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's something that's trained every single day within the confines of our practice. But we do use all the tools, all the Rapsodos, all the blast motion sensors, all the video analysis, all these different things on how to teach hitting. We use all that, but we use it in a way that's while we're the same time you're training your body, or you're training yourself physically, or all those things. At the same time, you're training yourself on your mental game. And so we take pride in how we train our kids in the world of mental toughness. We train it in a way that generates belief in what they're doing. And as soon as a kid garners belief in what they're doing from at bat to bat, from swing to swing, now you have actually a true hitter that can adjust to what the pitchers or what the other coaching staff are trying to do to them offensively on how they sequence pitchers, and they can start to see patterns and different things. And then it allows them to do what the most important thing about hitting is to get on time to a contact point. And as soon as they're able to do that, now the mechanic becomes more secondary to the actual mentality.
Let's talk about, what was it about Louisiana Tech that drew you there? For those that don't know, you spent a long time as a head coach at Nevada. You're a baseball player at Nevada. You're in the Hall of Fame. You're an alum there. One of the best ever to play there. So obviously, you're not just leaving there for any job. What was it about La Tech that jumped out you to the point where, like, you had to make that difficult decision of leaving a place you think fondly of in Nevada, but to go to a great opportunity like La Tech?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, I still love Nevada. I'm still an alum. I still, take great pride in going to school there, and always rooting, wishing the best for the University of Nevada. Let's start with that. But what drew me here, I mean, first and foremost was the people. I mean, Malcolm Butler, Dr. Eric Wood, as most coaches will know, who you work for matters. And the people here at La Tech are dynamic in their support and how they support, and how easy they make it to find success within your program, and how they're always working for you. And they're not, they'll tell you no, and those types of things, the things you request, but the way they do it is just different and dynamic. So the people was the first and foremost in making the move. The second, the climate of college softball, in my opinion, is coming this direction. I mean, when you look at scheduling and doing different things within not only the state of Louisiana with all the schools here, but the proximity to scheduling with Power 5 schools or whoever you want to schedule, it's really easy to put together a schedule. I mean, the closest school at Nevada was 3 hours away and you have to go over the Sierra Nevadas to get there, at Sacramento State and University Pacific and these different places. But I just really enjoy the climate of college softball down here with one, scheduling, and the level of competition is just unbelievable. And I love that challenge of being able to match up against LSU every year, or Ole Miss, or go up to Arkansas and it's only 5 hours, and those types of things was really tantalizing to me as well. Not to mention these facilities. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, these facilities here, doing what I want to do and being able to reach the capabilities of what I think I can do as a coach, and allowing my staff to do what I believe they're capable of doing as a staff as well. And giving all the resources and tools to these players to be successful on and off the field was important to me. And these facilities are unmatched. And when I came out here on the interview, it was the people that drove me here to interview, for first and foremost. And then once I got into these facilities, it was real tough to say no to, a beautiful indoor, a team room, the beautiful locker rooms, and the players' lounges and the coaches' offices, as well as a beautiful field with everything you could possibly want out in the stadium as well. So it was a tough decision. I won't sit here and say it was easy, but it was also, my family was fully supported. My daughter already lived in Denver, so there was nothing except for Nevada, I guess, keeping me in Reno. And I think it was just time for a change. And I always have fond memories of my time in Reno and Nevada. Obviously, spent a lot of years there, and I met my wife in Reno. My daughter was born in Reno. There's a lot more to it than just alumni and Hall of Fame and all those things. It was time, and I can't be more excited about my decision. Obviously, year one, we exceeded everybody's expectations, which, I can't figure out if that's a good or a bad thing yet. But at the same time, we're excited about year two, and we're excited about the direction of the program. We're excited about the recruiting process and how that looks. I mean, I guess I work a little different recruiting than I'm not a big giant social media guy. I like to be in front of people a little bit more, but we like the way recruiting's going right now. We like the players we have coming in, and the future of the program is definitely bright right now.
You mentioned the facilities, which has been Will talked about. You're going to be hosting the conference tournament this year, so a lot of people are going to get to see your facilities that maybe haven't seen it before. For those that haven't seen it and may see it later this year, either during the season or when you host a conference tournament, give them a preview of what they're going to see that might surprise them?
State of the art. I mean, it's clean, the playing surface. I mean, what they did with the field turf always blows me away on how they were able to use different composites for the infield portion versus the outfield portion. How true it plays. It plays just like a perfectly groomed first inning dirt, beautiful field. And that's how the ball bounces the same. It's the same speed. And then the outfield plays just like a well-manicured outfield. The way they did the field turf was amazing, from the lighting system, which is LED, state of the art, where you have lights shining up, so balls get above the lights. It gets up there to the camera system on the field. The backstop netting system, the dugouts are absolutely beautiful. I mean, we have dimmer lights in our dugouts. I mean, I don't know why, but we do. And it's really kind of cool. It's just one of those little feet. There was no feature left out. I mean, when they did their homework and went around and saw other fields, they took all the best things from everywhere else in the country and brought it to one complex. Our press box is state of the art. Our camera system, our camera wells, and then our indoor facility with the flat screens, and it's all ported already for all of our Rapsodo and our screen mirroring, and our team room, which is 26 or so chair back seats, all logoed, and a 95-inch TV on the wall with projection that you can ride on and teach with, and to our players lounge, our state-of-the-art locker room, which has everything that you could possibly want as a player in it, to our equipment room. I mean, we have our own equipment room on site, which has 2 commercial grade washers, 2 commercial grade dryers in it, all in-house, and all those little details are brought into the facility to make literally everything so seamless, from laundry all the way to the technical side of video analysis, or all those objective data training tools that we can use here and have instant access to everything. Not to mention, in our offices themselves have flat screens which are ported, and all coaches have them to do video analysis in our offices with players if we want to do it that way as well. And then last but not least, which I think is the most important part to our facility, is they built a state-of-the-art training room in our facility, which is huge for us to have instant access to cold tubs and ice machines and, game sense, game ready stuff, Normatec sleeves and boots, PT rooms, hydroculators, the whole 9 yards. And our trainers are right on site with their offices on site. So our players have basically 24-hour access to our players, and vice versa. Our players have 24 access to our trainers. That facility, just having that alone is something that most people don't have on site in their softball facility. And we have 5 training tables with a taping table and, every piece of equipment, cupping, needling, you can get it all done right here in house, which is so nice to have that just steps away from our field and our facility. It's just right here in house. And I couldn't emphasize how important that is for post and pre-game treatments and injury rehabs and those types of things. Really makes it convenient, but it also makes it really nice for the players that they feel like they're getting the attention that they need literally 24 hours a day. I mean, everything here is key fobbed with their college ID numbers, so they have 24-hour access to the facility if they want it. I mean, there's just so much more that goes into this facility than just looking at it from the outside. That really makes it a training heaven for any softball player nationally to come here. And if they see it, they're usually always blown away by it because it's just that nice.
I want to pay. I think I want to get rent. I want to pay rent. I might live there. I want to live there.
I tell my wife all the time, and I said, man, I'm not saying. I mean, I've been married for 25 years, so I think I could say this. But if I was single, I'd have a Murphy bed in my office, and I'd probably just live here. I got showers. I mean, there's a men's and upstairs. There's a men's and women's coaches locker rooms as well with everything we need. And so everything that we need is literally in house, not to mention every TV in here is hooked up to like 1,600 cable channels for some reason, but we have it. So we have everything you need in house in this facility. And like I said, yeah, you're right. Paying rent. I don't know how much Dr. Wood or Malcolm would like me to live here, but I'm telling you what, if I was a single man, I would have a Murphy bed in here in a heartbeat. And why not? Everything I need's here.
I'm just saying, you could raise money, like get people to like pay rent, just to spend a weekend there and be, who knows? You got some side business with. That's incredible. The facilities there. My last question to you before we let you go. Obviously, this will be the last year for Conference USA with the current structure. There's going to be a lot of changes in the league moving forward. I know you don't think about those type of things, but at the same time, it's unique this year. What's going to be the keys this year for this team to accomplish your internal goals as you try to win another conference championship and, say goodbye to some friends and then say hello to some new friends down the road?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what I said before. I mean, we just got to play consistent high-level softball every day. I mean, you got, I know that we have in North Texas, this is their last year in our conference, and I'm sad about that because I've gotten to know Rodney and them a little bit over the last year. I like what they're doing over there, and that's a good little rivalry that that I'm gonna miss because they're gonna be. We open up at home this year against North Texas, and that'll be a telltale right out of the gate. And we're gonna have to be ready for that. But I mean, I don't really worry too much about the conference realignment stuff because it's so far out of my control, and I try to practice what I preach to my players as far as CTC, control the controllables. And so if they see me freaking out about something that's completely out of my control, I feel like I'm setting a bad example. So I don't worry too much about what's happening in Conference USA. Like you said, we're going to say goodbye to some really good teams with UAB and some of these, Southern Miss, some of them already left. So,
yeah,
our conference already looks different this year, but we'll welcome in. We add Liberty, which is an extraordinarily great add for us in Conference USA as far as program and facilities. Dot does a wonderful job over there. And we look at, Jacksonville State, and I already know Kathy over at New Mexico State really well. I've spent some time with her, obviously, when I was over at Nevada. We did a lot of the same events together. And then we're also adding, I believe it's Sam Houston, Sam Houston. And, Garrett's doing a great job over there. So we had 4 good teams to our conference, and we'll deal with that once we get there. But ultimately, it doesn't change my approach to how we train or what we're doing. Those are so uncontrollable for us. I mean, we're excited about whoever comes into our conference or wherever we go. Who knows if it's over yet? And I doubt if it is, to be quite honest with you. I think there's more changes in front of us still coming. I don't know what they are. I don't dive in. I don't bury myself in those things too much. It's more just I'm curious. I want to know where I'm playing and what I'm doing. But, we stay focused on our day-to-days, and we stay focused on what's happening at Louisiana Tech. I'll let Dr. Wood handle all those details of of conference realignments and who's coming and who's going. And I just keep it as simple as possible when it comes to conference realignment, because there's no reason for us to stress out about those things. I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do, and we just kind of put our trust into Dr. Wood, and we have a lot of faith and trust that he's going to do what's best for Louisiana Tech at the end of the day, and that's what I'm going to go with, and that's where I'm at with it, and that's where I want my players at with it. We start worrying about all those types of things, it just becomes one more distraction of a million that these girls already get every day. So, we're going to miss. I know I'm going to, specifically, I'm going to miss. Just I felt the intensity of the North Texas thing last year when we went there in regular season, and they whooped our butts in game one, and we were able to come back and get the next two and win the series at North Texas. And I felt the excitement from our side during that series, and then I could feel it from Rodney and those types of things. And those are good things, but they're healthy and they're good to have those types of games. And then obviously they got the best of us in the conference series and just whooped our butts. But that I'm 2-2 against North Texas right now, and Rodney's 2-2 against me. So I like that. I like that back and forth, and it's all healthy. It's fun. I would assume that Rodney enjoys those types of things just as much as I do.
Sure.
Because he's a competitive man and does a great job over there in North Texas. And I'm a little sad that that's going away after this year, just because that was really, really fun for me last year to compete in that and play at that level and get, watch what they did in the regionals was fun for me as well. And you're always rooting for each other outside of playing against each other. So, we're going to miss that, but at the same time, I'm sure we'll get Rodney and North Texas on our schedule out of conference moving forward out as well, as well. So conference realignment, really, I hate to downplay the question, but
no, it's fair. It's a fair.
It doesn't really me.
Right, doesn't. All you got to worry about is what you can control, and what you're controlling is doing great things over there at Louisiana Tech, Coach. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. I know it's a busy time with the fall, but really a great job this year, last year. We look forward to seeing your team this upcoming year, and thanks for coming on with us.
I appreciate you having me, Eric, very much. It's been great, and I look forward to coming back and talking to you again soon.